working? It's back. Oh, well, that's just gonna mess up the whole recording thing, isn't it? Yeah, just broke for no reason. Broke for no reason. I got a message saying could not be not permitted. Yeah, that's it. I wasn't permitted to do something, you know, like stream. It's like, no, there's some sort of tournament, StarCraft 2 tournament on. The music, by the way, is from The Witcher 2. Well, The Witcher and The Witcher 2, plus some by Grand Elemental, who has written some fantastic music. You can find his channel via the Iiosia channel, or indeed via the website. Yeah, the Iiosia website, in the credits page. Dost thou organise thy ideas in a mind map? No. I should, really. I never really looked into those. I mean, I've heard of them, obviously. Let's just zoom in. But I haven't ever done that. No. I should. You know, I'm gonna make a note of that as well. I am gonna make a note of mind map, because that sounds fun. It does. It sounds like a laugh. Write a story in a single evening. I mean, that's yeah, okay. I'll put that in as well. I think one of the issues is that 'cause that's a good idea. I mean, it's become less casual. That's a big thing as well. Like when I first started doing this, I was a lot younger, and I hesitate to use the word serious, but I will. It was a lot less serious, you know, back then. And I was just like, yeah, I'll just write whatever. But now I kind of like, because it's become more and more like developed. Oh, that's right, Elder Scrolls. Damn, I forgot about that. I actually got an offer for a key. I never replied to that either. Yeah, someone actually suggested as a side note that I should stream Elder Scrolls Online rather than Oblivion tomorrow. But I don't think many people would be happy with that. So yeah, that's that. It was more casual, and now I've got sort of standards, and so like I take it more seriously, and in doing so, I you know, maybe take it a bit too seriously, and therefore I think, oh, that's not good enough, I can't do that, and then so I rewrite and blah blah blah. Hiya, Softer. No, you haven't. No, you haven't missed anything important whatsoever. We've barely got started, you know, I've been talking for half an hour now and I haven't barely said anything. You guys have been great, by the way, just to let me ramble. And there was something, how much of a plan you have when you start a story? It varies, honestly. It comes from, like, one idea. As I suppose... Yeah, I know, Death, I know. I suppose like anything else, though, it comes from an idea. To work in Grey Fox. I know, like, I'll tell you half an hour after you know that. Yeah, like most stories, it comes from, like, one idea. And then it just grows from that, so... But when I actually start... Because there's a difference between thinking of the story and writing it, isn't there? And I suppose more of a plan now than before. Although, to be honest, not really much of a... Not much of a plan, to be quite honest. Not much of a plan at all when I first start writing stuff. And sometimes that works out really well. Twisted Fates was, if any of you have read it, really didn't have much of a plan at all, and just kind of like, which is surprising considering the plot. Yeah, it's surprising considering the plot. But there we go. It's just something where I wrote a story about this guy sneaking into a house, big palace thing, and he steals a dagger, and then suddenly he needs the dagger to pay off a debt, and then it started. Then it just, you know, just took off from there. I know that Tolkien, like, you know, when he first started writing The Hobbit, he just started writing, oh, there was a hobbit and lived in a hole, and it was a nice hole, and went off from there. Not comparing myself to him, by the way, but it was a sort of, like, parallel. Yes, eldest. Yes, it does. It didn't before, which is sort of why I was touching on before. Because this is more public now, suddenly I'm like, oh my god, someone's actually going to read this. And, you know, it's... So yeah, suddenly I'm writing less for myself, which is another big thing. Write for yourself. I'm actually writing, sorry, Death, I'll get to you in a minute. Reading a book by Stephen King, currently, called On Writing. It's just about what he thinks of writing, and hints for writing. I've just started it, move it, blah, blah, blah. One of the things I've picked up on was, like, when you first write the story, initially, when you first do your first draft, you're writing for yourself. Which is how it should be. You're writing your story for yourself. But the second one, when you write the second draft, you're writing for somebody else. You're writing for the others. So it's like, you know, you put it, when you write your first draft, write with the door closed. For the second draft, write with the door open. And I think that's a very good, you know, I only read that last night. I thought that's a really good way of doing it, rather than think, what will people think of this or that, you know, or will that fit with this? I'll just go ahead and, you know, keep on plowing through it. Right, Death. Your question. Have you ever tried various types of story rather than a single character, following them through? Switching between mindsets means that you can get relative development. You can even use this to only really publish half the hero. I sometimes try, but it... Okay, sorry, Death, I'll move it, there, there's nothing here. Okay, a bit further up. I do try, but it never seems to work that way. It just seems to be the way that I'm more comfortable writing, is just to write with the one single character. I sometimes branch into different, you know, but I haven't really. Maybe I should. There was another question. Does Law of Iiosia have a game changer, Deus Ex Machina device, or an item in it like the One Ring? I gotta say yes, it does. It requires a story, which I'll get to in a little while. After I've answered Grey Fox, how was this map made? It was drawn by a person called Iris Ball, and she lives in Oregon. And she randomly emailed me one day and said, "Hey, I've drawn a map for you." And I was like, "Well, all right, I'll have a look at it." And boom, here it is. I actually asked her to do some minor changes, and she hasn't got back to me on that, which is one of the, oh god, up here. And I asked her sort of like maybe September, October time, just to do some random stuff up here, and she said, "Yeah, that wouldn't be a problem. You know, it'll only take. I'll get back to you in a few weeks," and nothing. And because like this is like a third-party map, obviously, because I didn't pay them and I didn't owe them anything to make it, you know, it's. And I don't have the skill to do it myself, even though I really should learn. You know, I'm kind of like stuck now, because I don't want to nag and say, you know, you really should be doing this. Oh, bye, Zhao. Thank you for popping in. Anyway, there's another question. Yes, game changer, Deus Ex Machina sort of thing. All right. Well, it's kind of, yeah, it's kind of the same sort of thing. Do you want to hear the story? This is me sort of recanting my some of the history of the world. So you know, this might help. But jog my memory. I'll only do it if you guys like up for it though, because it might take a little while. But yeah, basically there is something like that. I don't know whether I should be all like, well, this happens and that happens and this happens. This is all on the website, by the way. Open a new tab here. It's in, where would it be? The World of Iiosia, and then if you go down to histories, it's in the Great War. Wow, there is quite a lot of lag on this stream. It's like a minute. Alright, well this is, if future reference, if anybody wants to, because it'll help me, to be quite honest, to talk about this, the Great War, and the Sundering and stuff. Alright, so, fine. I don't know about a storyteller at a campfire sort of thing. I was never much of a showman, even though I like to do the LPs, you know. I don't put on a character for it, as you may well have found out. So... But, alright, well, long ago, before Iiosia was as it is, it was called something else. It was called Telusime, which means in the common tongue, the Age of Wonder. It was called, I think it was like proactively called that, because at the time they didn't know it was the Age of Wonder. Until like bad things happened to stop it, and in this era, like humans were as primitives, you know, they were living in caves, you know, and they had like stone tools, and they could barely, you know, do anything much, start fires and stuff, and that's about it. So they lived in their caves. There's three sort of main races. There was the dwarves. Just traditional dwarves, you know, they're in their mountains, they like their gold and nodules, and they're very introverted, and they don't like magic very much. And they were fighting with dragons. And then you had the Tachi. Yes, retroactively, that's it, thank you, Mark. The Tachi. And the Tachi were a race of angelic magic users. They were beautiful, they had wings, they soared into the sky, you know, and they were beautiful. They were perfect, pretty much. You know, they were angels. And then you had the Iiosia, and the Iiosia, who used to be the elves, by the way, until I changed it, are a magic-using race as well. They're a bit frailer, very smart, and they were, you know, very clever, more industrious than the Tachi. And the Iiosia lived here, actually, in Malarai. And the Iiosia were secretly sort of like resentful of the Tachi. They, you know, they were beautiful, and they could fly, and they had mastery over magic, and they were everything that the Iiosia wanted to be. But all was good, pretty much, until the Iiosia got greedy. And the Iiosia started to dabble in magic, so that they maybe shouldn't have dabbled with. And by maybe, I mean they really shouldn't have dabbled with them, because they were dark magics. It was the Dark Ark. And they formed this thing called the Magic Flux. No, softer. No, the Black Elves have been discontinued. Sorry. And I wrote the elves. There's a video on the web on the yeah, Black Elves were sort of like an offshoot of the elves. But yeah, I sort of got rid of them in the sort of like the slimming down thing. But anyway. So they created this thing called the Magic Flux. Now the Magic Flux was a massive wheel that they suspended above their great city of Alien, which is here, and it drew the powers of magic to it. You know, and they, you know, and they become really powerful with it. You know, they could cast like better spells, and they got a great understanding of magic. And the Iiosia, by the way, not very nice. They enslaved humans. They got humans and they turned them into husks, which are basically sort of like zombies. They sucked their will from them, so the husks aren't really sort of alive. They're actually massively inspired in looks, or at least in feel, by Legend of Zelda. You know, the sort of like hugging things, the sort of mummy things that were in caves that also would grab Link and suck his life. That's what I sort of like view them as in a strange sort of way. But anyway, but the husks are immensely strong, and they were sort of like lackeys. They would give them sort of odd jobs to do, and they could do menial tasks. And they built all this stuff for them because they could control them with their will. So the Iiosia had these sort of like mind puppets. I'm talking about the Iiosia, yeah, the Iiosia, and so that's the sort of like race the Iiosia were. You know, they were sort of like they crave sort of dominion over their lands and stuff. I guess so, Mark. So anyway, yeah. And one night there was this massive storm. There was this huge storm that raged around the flux, and lightning hit the flux, and it created a portal within it into to Inferis. Inferis is basically hell. It's a different plane. This isn't appropriate, Witcher. Bye, Peter. Bye. Thank you for popping in. So yeah, it created a portal into Inferis, and through this portal, 6 Chkarth came through. And Chkarth are mega demons, pretty much. They're, you know, really nasty things. So they let basically demons into the world, and the demons initially fled south to Chkarth Amore, as it became known. And they stayed there for several years, and this land was already sort of like not really part of Iiosia. It was sort of separate. This is sort of like a rather hot, barren land, by the way. And they built their armies, pretty much. They were able to harness their powers unabated, and they created their armies, and they brought them back, and there was a big war. Which we're getting besides the point that the magic flux is that thing. You know, it's a thing that made that happen. And do you want me to go on with the story? Because I'll wait a bit, because it does. Okay, I'll carry on. They attack. They wipe out Malarai. All this gets wrecked. And the Aetia flee over here to Hi, Reddick. Okay, yeah, cool. I thought you might, but I was, you know. Yeah, so the Aetia sort of wreck Alien, and so all this is in ruins now, you know. And they come, and the Aetia flee across here to Chitliria, or Chit. All right, hang on. Chitilira. See, it's been a while. Chitilira. You're not supposed to be able to pronounce these words very easily, by the way, because it's a different language used by very, what's the word? Sophisticated peoples, very intelligent. Completely different dialects, so that's why I made these words deliberately difficult to pronounce. It does help, yeah, it does help. What the hell happens? I don't even remember what happens. There's a big battle. They call the dwarves for help, and even the dragons get involved as well, because the dragons realise dragons aren't daft. They realize, oh, hang on a minute, this is going to destroy the entire world. So, yeah, so there's a huge battle between the 6 Chkarth. Well, there was a battle between the Chkarth as well, because they were all infighting and stuff, and I think 3 of them died. But the other 3 that are still alive go and attack this city of the Tarchi, the sort of most beautiful, like, you know, fantastic city ever built. Well, not the most like big or glorious, but you know, just the most beautiful. I think it'll be sort of like quite sort of like spiry and spindly, because they could fly, so they wouldn't need like. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So it's all a bunch of spiders. So there's a big battle outside the gates of the city, or outside the boundaries of it. Now what happens is, yeah, they bring the magic flux with them because they need that. The Aetia are like, we need this, because their plan now, right, is to kill or be killed. The horde of demons is way too much to stop them. You know, way too much to stop. You know, there's too many of them, basically. They're completely outnumbered. So all they can do, this is the Aetia's plan. If they sort of get into the midst of the horde, right, and use the flux to create another portal, they can suck all the demons back into Inferis, and sort of banish them, or at least banish most of them, including the Chaff, to prevent this happening. So the plan is that the dwarves basically just go in there and hold everybody off, okay? While you know, they hold all the demons off, they charge through the lines and they hold them off, while the Atia manipulate the flux to create this portal into Inferis, and the Tarchi's job is basically to stop anything coming out from Inferis. So they're there with their light magics, stopping anything getting out, where as the Atia are trying to get everything in. So they do this, and it works. It causes the sundering, which, like, cataclysmic, you know, earthquakes and everything, you know, gets shaken up, and mountain ranges get toppled and they get raised, you know, and mountain and islands disappear and landmasses reappear and stuff, which is why this is all, like, all wrecked. Shattered shore, you know, that all was once land, and that gives rise to Zakara as well over here. But anyway, so it's good. Okay, so it's working. Okay, I mean, it's wrecking the world, but all the demons are getting sucked into Inferis, including the Chaff, which is like, you know, okay, it's working. At the very last gasp, the Atia double cross the Tarchi, because don't forget, they were all like really jealous of the Tarchi, and they let just a sliver of dark magic escape from Inferis and hit the Tarchi. Hit most of their, like, nobles and stuff, because there's not many Tarchi, and I should have said that earlier. There's not many of them, because they're immortal, and so, you know, there might be like a couple of thousand of them, and they're all up there in the sky, and the Atia wreck them, basically. They let dark magic hit them. It doesn't kill them, but it taints them. It turns them into demons, you know, themselves. So, you know, it warps them. It turns their skin black. It frays most of their wings off. They come toppling from the sky. Doesn't kill them though, because you know they were really powerful to begin with. So, the Tarchi, like, right, well that was pretty mean. So they go after the Atia and they wipe out most of the Atia nobility. Then, you know, as this is happening, there was like a massive sort of like storm. But as the clouds break and the sun starts coming down, the rays actually, you know, burn the Atia. It's turned them into, not the Atia, the Tarchi. The sun that they once really loved and revered now burns their skins, and so they have to flee underground. They have to flee away. So they become the Tarchi of modern-day Iiosia. They lurk in their caverns, blinded by hate of what they were and what they've become, driven insane with malice, pretty much, but still retaining their magic prowess, but now not so much good as bad, you know? The Atia become like completely wrecked, you know, their nobility was destroyed, their homeland was destroyed, so they become a really sort of like nomadic race with nowhere really to go. And the dwarves pack up the magic flux and say, this thing is bad, this thing is really evil. Well, not evil, but it can be used for evil. And so the dwarves say, right, well, you know, we're the ones that can really handle this. So they take it back to their homeland up here, to Vordal, and they put it into their deepest, darkest, I'm not going to say tomb, but vault, in the middle of their mountain, and they seal it shut forever. Or so they think. So, and that ends the story of the magic flux. So, yeah. So that's that. And that is basically how Iiosia was formed. Because after that, mankind, there's a power vacuum. Because all these earthquakes, you know, shook up all the dwarven strongholds and destroyed most of them. So they all retreat sort of like to Vordal and consolidate their strengths there. And so there's a power vacuum. And mankind fills this. And guess who helps him? The Atia. Primarily here in Aun, the Atia finds mankind and sees him as children and teaches him stuff. Teaches him, you know, because they don't want to turn them into husks anymore, really, you know. And so the Atia are very instrumental in mankind's development, especially in Aon. So, not really. I'm thinking this thing's maybe 12 feet wide. But anyway, so mankind sort of like emerges, letting all this dark energy into the world, messy stuff as well. So this is where the Greel are, because mankind, who later went there, were tainted by all the dark magic that was now saturating the land, and they became this power-hungry, you know, necromantic sort of people. Not necromantic, but you know, they're bad people. Yes, clock. The flux is still there and could be found again, and indeed, it kind of is. But that's another story, and that's how Iiosia becomes it's formed. And Iiosia means, in the Atia tongue, turmoil, as we see up here in the main page. Is it even in there, or is it in the world of Iiosia? Can't remember. Yeah, there you go. So called by the ancient race of the Atia. In their language, the world roughly translates as turmoil, because that's what the world has become. So that's that. Thanks for letting me tell that. You know, that's in there. I can remember that. That's kind of cool. I left out details here and there, but basically, you can find it in the histories anyway of the world if you want to go and see that. But yeah, I'm actually into working tomorrow, which kind of sucks. So if someone found it, does that mean that someone could accidentally open the portal again and mess everything up? Indeed they could. Which is why, as you can see here, I don't know whether you can see this, but it goes like, history of the timeline. So the three eras: the Great War, the Urge of Turmoil, which is this, and then the future. If I click on the future, okay. What basically happens in Alderaan, which is the next era from Iiosia, which I haven't really touched that much, but what happens in that is that magic slowly dies away from the world over a couple of thousand years. Mankind embraces technology, and it becomes kind of similar but not the same as our era now. But then the flux is found, and someone cracks it and opens a portal to Inferis again. And so there we have demons attacking again, except now people have guns and stuff, but that's something else. Oh, it's physical. I imagine, I think it'll be like physical. I'm not sure what it is made of. You know, probably, I want to say like, basically, I don't want to say wood because it'll rot, wouldn't it? But you know, it'll be an artifact of power. Maybe metal with like runes carved in it and stuff, and it pulses with magic, you know, and it might look quite innate when it's not active, but you know, it's just a big round wheel, pretty much. Right, I'm out of beer. But that's fine, because I'm not gonna have any more. Kind of steampunky. That actually paves the way for, to be honest, the character that gave birth to all this. Variax. Yeah. Variax is kind of an anti-hero that lives in the future, and he's like this experimental soldier gone wrong, and he goes rogue. Actually, he gets sort of abandoned when he was very young, yeah, he was like my first like fictional character who I really sort of like got to grips with. And I got the idea of that, well, you know, maybe we can, because I always like fantasy. I thought, well, how can I mix this, you know, because I've got this really awesome character in Variax, you know, but I really want him fighting like demons and stuff. And there we go. That's where all this has come from. This is all a prelude to the main character that I've thought of, you know, 10 years ago. So there we go. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird how things have sort of developed, because the actual setting that Variax is sort of like set in isn't that developed at all, and I don't think it ever will be, because mostly it'll be like post-apocalyptic, because like the demons have come and wrecked a load of stuff, and yeah. Well, the interesting thing about the gods is, I'm not sure. I'm sure you mean just by name. I don't think so. Basically, Iruk. No, who asked about the gods? Who asked about the gods? Oh, the Nerubin? No, I think the gods will die out. I'm not entirely sure that the gods actually exist at all. In fact, I think the only gods that do exist are probably the demon gods, when people worship demons, because demons do exist. Whereas the gods that priests and stuff pray to, you know, that humans have pretty much made up, I don't think they exist. But you know, like, so you have like a priestess of the sun and stuff. Well, the sun is called Aurora, and so the goddess is Aurora, but it's not an actual deity. So, I mean, Aurora might actually, you know, stay the same. The sun might be called Aurora, but I don't think it'll be worshipped as a god anymore. I don't know. I'm not really keen on religion being in my sort of like Alderaan thing. I know, Looper. It's kind of got out of hand a little bit, because it's not myth. Even though, like, in the future they'll find lots of, you know, in Alderaan they'll find lots of like bones and fossils and stuff of like dragons and whatever else it's in Iiosia, and they'll be like, well, this existed, and you know, so there will be like the history of it there, and they'll be like, well, how did these things exist? Why don't they exist now and stuff? And then there are people who believe like magic existed, and people are like, no, magic never existed. You know, so, I know that kind of thing. But yeah, that all came before the whole Iiosia thing. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Oh, sorry, Death. Oh, sorry, Death's healer. Okay. I'm sure that your character really believes that. Again, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm leaning towards the fact that they don't. And that the power they believe they get from their deity is actually just the power of magic that they have within them. But if they believe it comes from an extra source, you know, external sort of like source thing, then, you know, that's what makes gods real, I guess. In that world, or indeed this one. It's controversial. I don't know, because, you know, the old angels, the Ta Chi, they're all like evil and twisted and want to kill everything. Because they hate life, because they're like the ultimate, you know, emo. Like, my life sucks, why does nobody love me? I don't know, see, Alderaan's not something that I'm touching right now. Back here we have a story. Where is it? There you go. Herding the cattle. This is something I wrote a long time ago when I was back at uni. It's not very good, But this is another story that I just suddenly started writing randomly one night. 23,000 words. And it's a Varrock story. Except now he's called Shard. Because he used to be called Shard, but I changed it pretty quickly. And there's that one as well. But this is basically just a revenge story. There's nothing to it. There we go. There's Varrock. The file's called Shard, but it's actually, you know, Varrock now. Shard was something that I had for a couple of months until I decided Varrock was really, you know, much better name. Maybe a handful were only partially hit at all. I mean, it's possible, Nerubin. But then why would they, you know, I suppose, why would they be worshipped as gods? Because why would they would actually be there in the physical world. So they could be classified as gods, that's absolutely, but it would change a lot. Because they would actually, you know, be there. And that would really change a whole lot of stuff that I've already done. Is there like a central government of some sort? Any prominent race class? Does mankind know about the Great War and all that? Good question, Looper. Good. I'm going to take this off. Lols. Okay. Dominant race. Yes, humans. Humans rule most of the world now. Rune, here. Aun, and Magador, to a lesser extent, but even so, because Magador's, you know, pretty much wrecked, are all human realms. Orendor used to be, until the undead took it over. But yeah, Rune and Aun are the two powerhouses, pretty much. Oh, Sora, because Twitch sucks, Sora. Sorry. Sorry. But do they know about the Great War? Generally, no. No, they don't, because thousands of years have passed. And the dwarves know about it. At least some of them do, because, you know, they record everything. They're the history keepers of the world. So, if we just go back into here, into Timelands... where am I looking? What am I doing? Where are we going? Era timeline, is this it? Yeah, okay, so in the era, in the... I know you guys can't see this, but this is the, Wonder, the Age of Wonder, the Age of Wonder, or the Era of Wonder, I'll put here. The dwarf year is 7,000, so the dwarves are really, really old, so they, like, record history, they record everything. So the dwarves know about it, but, that sort of history is like kept really deep down within Vordal, and so not many dwarves know about it. The Aetir know about it, or they knew about it, but some of the Aetir didn't pass the knowledge on to their offspring because they're kind of ashamed about it, and even the ones who do know about it aren't going to tell the humans, oh yeah, by the way, we wrecked the world, and we used to keep your ancestors as sort of puppet slaves. Sorry. So they're kind of like ashamed, really ashamed about it, and so they don't spread the word much. And the Tar Chi, remember, but they're all insane. They're like, ah! So they're not going to really sit down and go, oh yes, by the way, 4,000 years ago this happened. That doesn't work, you know. So it is hidden. It's a hidden history that only some people know about. And yeah, there will be some humans who do get to hear about it from Aetir and dwarves and whatever that they meet. But generally amongst most of the populace, you know, it's either not known or it's like hearsay, it's rumour, it's legend, it's myth. And I'm sure there might be several different versions of what happened, you know, goes through. There we go. In the Alderon year 2012, the magic flux, which was once used to open a portal to Inferis over 6,000 years ago, is ignorantly broken by the humans. The portal to Inferis is opened once more and the demons spill out in their droves. The war of magic against technology begins. There we go. So that's that. Other societies, class-like, clerics, warriors, slaves, aristocrats. Is there some kind of trading, twisting between all the cities? Do humans use magic? Yes, to all that, I guess. Honestly, like, governments and rulers and politics and stuff is a major weak point of mine. I don't find that interesting. It's kind of lazy of me, but in most of the sort of like the places I've got, plonk a king, he rules, he's got some barons, they rule over a bit of land, done. Thanks, Death. It's just easier to do that. It's so easy to do that, and it's kind of lazy on me. So like Rune is your classic, you know, Warhammer Empire, you know, king rules over, you know, or queen, as it is today. And then all of these cities that you see here have like a ruler, and they rule over a certain bit of land, you know, and then they report to the king or queen. So, you know, that's pretty standard, I gotta say. I have, yeah, I know, Lance, it sucks. It does. We're talking about now. And now was in sort of like Iiosia, you know? Yeah, Aun is sort of ruled over by, I'm not going to say a dictator, but it pretty much is. But Aun is sort of like the most harmonious land. Even though I am going to go ahead and compare it to Nazi Germany. As in, you know, your first... In a kind of like vague way, if you see what I mean. Because your first loyalty is to the country and everything. You got to do national service, you know, everything's really militaristic, and I know people are going to come up with national, you know, counter arguments to the fact that it isn't actually Germany because this and this, but you know, pretty much it is. They don't really like outsiders that much. Obviously, it's not like a force of evil or anything, but if you see what I mean, you know, it's very sort of like introverted in that sort of way, you know, and they very much like their way of life, and they don't want they don't want anyone interfering with it, sort of thing. I don't know, Airsofter. What happened before that, and what event started their calendar? I have no idea, Airsofter. Not a clue. That is lost in the annals of history. And, just hang on. Magador is kind of wrecked because they had a ruler that was kind of slain, and so they've got like this puppet king in charge now, and he's not really in charge because all these city-states are breaking apart, and so Magador's mostly lawless. Right, what was the question? Have a separate state. I don't know what you mean. Oh, well, you mean like... They live there, and they live... Well, the Griel live in Gria, down here. The dwarves live over in the Dwarven Kingdom. I kind of honestly regret calling it the Dwarven Kingdom, but that's what it is. It is the Dwarven Kingdom. It is the Dwarf lands. That is where they live. And up here... Oops, sorry. I know it's all blurry and stuff, more than likely. Nethica. If there's like goblins-y sort of like... Has anyone seen The Descent? 6 women climbers go down a cave they shouldn't. There's things living in there. It's actually not a bad film. The Gilth who live in Nethica are sort of like inspired from that. They're this sort of like they devolve from humans. They're blind. They can climb. They're very vicious. Eat meat eaters. You know. The Gilth aren't precisely like that, but that's what they're you know, based off. And down here we have something that Airsoft should know a lot about. Zakara, where the trolls are. Now, sorry, there's somebody else asked a question as well. Yeah, Numa. Any of your stories, which one would you want to be featured? I've made like a custom one. I don't think the word dwarven is copyrighted, Airsoft. No, elves are pixies. They're little nymphs. They're little frightly foresty spirit sort of things. That's what the elves are. Yeah, well, they used to. Way too many guest users. Two Kings. Orendor used to be a big sort of rival to Rune. So this is France and this is Britain, and they used to be what you're talking about, you know, different kings and stuff. Arendal was like an offshoot off Rune, because Rune was like invaded a long time ago, and people who ran away formed Arendal, and the people who stayed in Rune formed Rune. And so there's always like this rivalry there, but yeah, Arendal's got screwed over by, you know... Now Arendal isn't there anymore. Even though it's there on the map and all the cities are still there, the entire population more or less got turned into undead. And it kind of got a bit messed up. I'll be right back, guys. 2 seconds. I'll leave you to listen to some nice Witcher music. Hello. Are there any sort of beastish races? Yes, there are, Sora. The Outlands. Oh yeah. Pretty much there's magic permeating from the two poles of the planet. And this is near-ish. We're talking sort of like Siberia-ish, the North Pole. And so everyone who's settled here, beyond Dark Pass, is known as a Ferial, and they have bestial sort of traits. It could be anything. Like someone could look a little bit like a bear. Somebody could be a bit like a cat. It's kind of random. And it's something I'm hoping to incorporate into IRPG by having sort of characters with animalistic traits. But they're sort of like mutants, pretty much. They're pretty much mutants. They don't have to be like regular animals either. But yeah, sort of thing. Not Fenris. Yes, really. Yes. That is what it's called. Yes, DJ Noma. I'm honestly, to be quite honest with you, not keen on werewolves. Yeah, they're still intelligent. Yes, they're still intelligent. Magic, basically. Sorry, yeah, well, I forgot to mention that, you know, certain strands of magic, i.e. dark magic, can warp. It's kind of like, a bit like radiation, in the way that it can sort of, like, alter stuff. I suppose the radiation is a bad thing, but, you know, a bad example. But yeah, it can sort of, like, change things in different ways. And, you know, just, like, little long exposure to dark magic can sort of affect the way things, like, change, like trees and stuff and everything. Oh, somebody asked those questions. Anyway, yes, okay, vampires. Well, I'm not keen on... I don't like werewolves. I gotta say it. I don't really like werewolves, as a rule. So, I haven't, got any sort of, like, were creatures. Space Wolves, no. Yeah, I know what Fenris is, Lupa. Yeah, it's the homeland of the Space Wolves, I know. Yeah. So, vampires are way cooler. And vampires were created in Orindor when the whole undeady thing happened. There's a little bit. Guest users. They use magic, yeah. Elder's Clock, they use magic. There's human mages. They're not as good as Aegean mages, but you know, they have an affinity for magic. They can use magic if they train hard and they have the natural ability to use it. Because magic is pretty much like this sort of like force that you can form into stuff. You're right, Brother Lou. You're probably right. I should. Exactly, Lupa. Thank you. No, well. Sorry, I'm just looking around. I'll tell you what is kind of annoying. And it's kind of disheartening. But it's when, and I know people can't help it, but it's when you try to describe an idea, like this, and every idea that anybody has ever had is based off something else. So when I just try to describe something, I mean, it could be anything. Someone in the chat will always go, "Oh, it's like this." It's like, well, yeah, and it feels like you, well, yeah, it's just like that. You know, I just took that and put it in, except it isn't, you know, but it is. It's not like a criticism of the chat. It's just something that tends to happen because people always try and equate something to something they already know. So they like just try and put it in a context. They're like, oh, so that's just like this thing that I already know, and so that's just what they imagine then. That's just like that, and it's like, well, yeah, but that's not really what I mean. But it is kind of the same. It's like, oh, but yeah, but oh, you know, it's kind of annoying. But I'm sure, like, the same happens. Anyway. How is sea travel? Yeah, sea travel. Sorry, I mean, these guys do trade among each other. Bastion's a big port. Oops. Bastion right here. Melislonoth. Lots of trade going on in here. But up here we have Toruga. Pirates. And over here we have Haleport. And down here, a long way away, we have Rud, which is kind of hard to get to, but people make the voyage anyway, usually round this way, because dwarf steel is the best in the world. It'll be on YouTube, yes. Ostipop. It'll be on this here website. Let's have a look at it. This here. Where is it? YouTube channel. There we are. The World of Iiosia YouTube. This will autoplay. It's really annoying, but there we go. So I'm not subscribed to my own channel. But in here you can find lots of stuff. Mostly me rambling about stuff. Although, playlists, thank you. IRPG games and stuff. And updates about Iiosia, questions and debates and stuff. Hi, Philbo. Yeah, well, I'm not gonna. I don't make any money from this channel anyway. So yeah, this I'll probably have an ad on it, and it'll go to the makers of the Witcher soundtrack, which I don't mind. It's not like I get a million views anyway, but yeah, I don't make money from this channel, so it's not. I mean, even if I did, you know, it wouldn't stop me sticking this music on, because it's kind of nice. Except this music right here is by what? By who? By Grand Elemental. Here he is. He hasn't written anything in a long time, but that's his channel, and he's written this piece of music we're hearing right now. He's still alive, because he's liked this 21 hours ago, but he doesn't write music anymore, which is very annoying. Bad him. On here, it's mostly stuff about, well, this will probably go in updates, this video. But yeah, there's a lot of IRPG stuff. I think I should have deleted these ones. I think I said I was gonna do... Oh, I did. I think I did. Yeah, I did. I deleted a lot of stuff because it was not really all that relevant. Death Incarnate has given me a bunch of stuff to change in IRPG, and I thank him and the players for that. I'm going to say that right now, if they're still watching. It's been overdue, this thanks, but they're actually playing IRPG. For a long-running campaign, I imagine, like more than two games. But yeah, it's really good how someone's actually playing the game, playing this IRPG thing. It's really neat. It's really neat if someone's actually, you know, decided to go and do that. I know other people have as well, but this is sort of an ongoing thing, and actually the feedback I've got is very helpful. But you know what? I mean, it was last weekend. This is the problem I'm having, and I don't know why. But he gave me like just all of this sort of thing. It was the weekend or the weekend before. That's been the week before, and he gave me some stuff to change on. He didn't like order me, by the way, but he's got suggestions. I'm like, you know, I think you should do this. And as they're playing a game with sort of like characters that I haven't, that are a certain level that I've never really play tested, I'm like, yeah, that's a really good idea. But yeah, I sat down and I had his suggestion and I had the rules out, and I just couldn't write anything. So yeah, reading a science fiction novel called the June. Oh, June. I know June. I never read it. Yeah. Thanks, Sora. But yeah, June. I know reading is really important, and I'm reading Games Workshop stuff, you know, about like Warhammer and stuff. I'm reading the Legends, well, one of the Legends books called The Rise of Nagash, which is about this, well, the creator of the undead pretty much goes around wrecking kingdoms. It's pretty nice. It's pretty good. I'm enjoying it. As well as the Stephen King book. So yeah, I have been trying to read a lot more, because reading is good in general, and I think it does help. It's just the anyway, Mark has a question before I get onto that little thing, which is, I'll just make a little note there. I'll get back to that point. What do you think of changing the Dwarven Kingdom into the Dwarven Kingdom of? I mean, I could put. This is the problem I have with the map being as it is now. You know, I can't edit it, and it's. I guess it wouldn't be that much of an issue, but you know, because it's all like referred to as the Dwarven Kingdom in all the other things that have been written, it's kind of stuck. It'll be work, pretty much, to change it. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. The system's awesome to play. That's nice. That's nice. That's really good. That's good to know. Thank you. Because it's like all the like spells and stuff. Don't know if Des told you, but all the spells and stuff, and all like the special abilities and everything, were each written in sort of like a couple of days each. Well, the abilities were probably written in one day. I said, right, I'm going to write abilities, and boom, they're done. So they were, yeah. Not a massive amount of thought was put into it, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, Reddick, well, I was saying this earlier. I wanted to change something about Rune. Move Sunal over to here. And stuff. Put it here, in fact, and just get rid of these roads. Which is a pretty simple fix, I think. But she still hasn't. You know, and I don't want to nag, because they don't owe me anything. But, you know, so I'm kind of like, is this what you get with third-party stuff? So I could go back to using the campaign cartographer stuff. It's really nice having this to hand, because everything is on here. Let's just see, developer notes. I know everything is, anyway. This map, which is the one that I can edit. So it's pretty much the same. It's slightly altered with her hand drawing stuff, but it's enough of the same for it to be sort of like, doesn't really matter. It's alright, Riddick, it's alright. So I can just change that. I can put Sinal back down to here and just, you know, get rid of these roads. Hers does look better, but this is perfectly, you know, serviceable. So yeah, that's that. We need an online interactive map. I have a big picture. How do you mean interactive? Not that I could possibly do this. You could. Way too many guest users. That's true. Yes. It's the kingdom of Hakenvark. I don't know. Hi, Rohan. Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay, now that the questions sort of died down, I was going to go back to this bit called routine. I wrote the word routine not so long ago. And that has a lot to do with it. About my daily routine. It's not I don't have time to do this, by the way, because I do. But I start work at 6 in the morning, as I will tomorrow morning, by the way. And I get home at 2. And generally I have a bit of a nap. From like until about 3:30, say, you know, once I've finished all the stuff I do when I get home. And then I have something to eat. And blah, and potter about and stuff, and upload videos to YouTube. So it's like 5 o'clock. When I like actually sit down to do stuff. And then the nap is basically to hi Pike, revamp me to do YouTube recordings. Because if I didn't nap, then I don't really, you know, I feel very about doing, because I do work hard at my job. Because I like working. So when I get home I'm often tired, so I have a bit of a sleep. But I need to get into the routine of using, and I tried to do this before with the Sunday updates, of allotting a certain amount of time to do this sort of thing. But then I'm thinking, if I do that, I'm making it more of a job or something. So do I, or should I just write randomly? But if I write randomly, then I never write. So do I, like, say, right, tonight I'm going to write? Because then I'm like, oh, right, I got to write. Okay, it's 6 o'clock, I'm going to start. And then I'm like, oh, well, you know, and, you know, so it's... Yes, you can write short stories for the world. Indeed, Pike, didn't you suggest that I hold like a short story competition? Oh, I can nap. I can totally nap. I could maybe try and do that, Grey Fox. It's... I mean, yeah. You could just click on Vera Kerr and you find out what Vera Kerr is. Takes you to the Vera Kerr page. I did have that on the old channel, by the way, on the old site. But this wiki's slightly different. True, yeah. I do like work. No, I can nap. I enjoy napping. sets me up for the rest of the because I finish work. So I mean, this is the key thing. I don't finish work at like 4 or 5 o'clock. I finish work at 2, so I can still have a nap and still like have the rest of the most of the afternoon, some of the evening. It's just hard to you know. I mean, once I get going with it, I'm good, you know, and then like you know, it can't stop me. But it's actually just the initial oomph, and it's the whole thing about. Do I force myself to sit down and do it, or do I wait until I'm in the mood? Because if you wait until you're in the mood, you know, it does require a certain amount of effort to do, but it's so, like, rewarding to actually produce something like this. Sorry, Christoph. Sorry. And the thing about this sort of, like, streamers, the weekly updates that I was finding was that the weekly updates was good when I was writing about smaller stuff. Like, you know, like little stuff like this. I could write something like this. Obviously, that's a bad example because there's pretty much nothing there. But the weekly stuff was, like, really easy because I could just write, you know, a couple of paragraphs about a creature or something, and then that would be the weekly update. But when I wanted to do something more substantial, I needed longer than a week, but I didn't like, because I was doing the weekly updates, I never managed to. Shouldn't be this hard, should it? The thing about the short story competition, Pike, and I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but I don't want to flatter myself enough to think that people would actually do it. Honestly, even though people seem to be going, yeah. Someone is actually writing it. I had a few, like, questions about writing stories, and I've always said, yes, go ahead. But I've never heard anything back. Because it's one, you know, same with me. It's one thing to say you'll write something, and it's another thing to actually do it. I mean, I'm sure they've written... I'm not talking about you, Emmy, I'm talking about other people. Like, someone who's written this. Oh, look at my desktop, by the way. Oh, it's not there anymore. Oh, there it is. Here's a file which someone was asking me about, and they sent me this, and I was like, is it good? And I'm like, yeah, it's really good, carry on with it. And then they haven't got back to me. They might be in the chat, I don't know. But I suppose these short stories would, you know, it would be a good idea. If you want to, I'm saying no. If you guys want to write short stories about Iiosia, then go ahead. Feel free, and I would indeed welcome questions about it, because that's one of the big things that does get me going. Is that if someone asks me a question, then I got to answer it. I would feel obliged. I am writing this story. I need to know about the Ferians and what they are like, and so. Can you please write about them? And I'll say, okay, I will. And suddenly I'm writing about the Ferians in an answer to you without realizing that it's pretty much an article for the wiki. And then I finish it, I send it, and I'm like, hang on a minute, that's everything I need for the wiki. So I pretty much just copy and paste it to the wiki. Suddenly, boom, done. So there's a little bit of motivation. If somebody needs this information, I need to get this information to them. And so I feel obliged to do it, and so I do it. That's how some of these have, you know, come about. What's the most corrupt dark city on Iiosia in your opinion? Oh, I don't know. There's quite a few of them. Should I go through a few, and then you can choose your own? Because are we talking like, you know, plain evil? I don't know about drinks and stuff. Like, I know there's a drug, but I forget what it's called. We'll do the city first, and then I'll talk about sort of like that. I mean, are we talking like just plain evil city, or are we talking like a place of like decadence and stuff, sort of like a lawless backwater, you know? What are we talking here? Because there are some pretty nasty places and there's some pretty bleak places as well. I won't use that anymore. Anyone seen this? Instantly got distracted by this. Hand-drawn map of an old version. Oh, thank you, Airsoft. Yeah. I guess your messages aren't coming through, or there's massive lag. Yeah, hand-drawn map from a long time ago. Oh yeah, and the scale. It's a bit different now, but there we go. What was I going to answer anyway? Every meal is Guinness. No. Okay, so we've got pretty much everywhere in Orendal, which is overrun by undead. There are bands of people trying to reclaim their homeland, but it's a fruitless task. Mishrak is a den of decadence and corruption. So it's more like a den of evil, though. Hendak, you ignorant barbaric slave, is a slaver pit. On the outskirts of Orendal. I think it used to be part of Rune, but isn't anymore because it kind of like got abandoned. But that's sort of like outside the borders. That's the last bastion of civilization before Orendal started. So it's been like attacked by undead quite a lot. But yeah, it's where like the Ferials sort of go to fight against each other in pits and stuff, and they get like exotic beasts shipped there and stuff. Virakur is what is known as the fortress at the end of the world, and it's a massive castle built on a cliff face that houses quite a good portion of the Runish army to guard against the undead hosts up there. Yeah, it's about the size of Europe. This is about the size of Europe. We also have a pirate pit. We have over here a Toruga, as in Tortuga, Pirates of the Caribbean. Toruga, pirates, built in a cove by the sea, highly defensible, and yeah, Toruga is where pirates live. So there's a pirate town, you know, Toruga, Tortuga, same thing. Glutton Gloat is where all the misfits of the world tend to hang up, especially those from Aun. It's hidden in the darkened woods. It's a big shanty town full of beggars, whores, and thieves. What else have we got? Everywhere in Greel is evil. That's about it for evil. Yeah, there's no particularly evil there. No. You got Gorn, which is like a slaver town, with the mines at the Maw. So that's basically just a massive slaver pit, pretty much. It's not really evil, though. It's quite industrious. But there's a couple of the less desirable places in the world. Yes, Lupa, there are pirates. Everybody loves pirates. Pirates in this cove here can attack both people coming, you know, through this channel here, from Zakura, and possibly, like, from here as well. Oops. And then they can attack down here in the inner city, Bastion and Melis Lonoth. That's nasty, Rohan. That's nasty. Somebody mentioned earlier about writing a story about sort of like, well, featuring politics and stuff. And they're right. Vampire pirates? If possible. No, stop it, guys. Stop it. That's nasty. Because another story that I've written is called Nerolith, and that is mostly set in Ision, which is the capital of Rune, and that is about this reluctant. It's an anti-vampire, but it's an anti-hero. It's a vampire. This young woman, a priestess, pretty much, who gets turned into a vampire against her will. And to cope with her new condition, she goes out and hunts criminals. And she discovers this seedy underworld in Ision. And in doing so, she uncovers a lot about the class system and everything within it. And because of that story, Ision's actually quite well fleshed out as a city in my head. So that's sort of like a similar thing. You know, you write about one thing and you know. You can learn a lot more about it, which is what I was saying more or less at the start. Hi, Tenata. It's let you through. You can now pass. Well done. I can't just sit down and write about a country. You know, I gotta be there, either in IRPG or in a story, and I've got to put myself in that situation. And it's surprising where that can lead you, and what sort of details you come up with. Through the situations that happens within the story. It's true. Yeah, Twitch chat sucks. I think tomorrow, as a side note, we should use the alternative chat rather than the Twitch chat. Because if we can't help, you know, can't hold like 20 people or whatever, the Oblivion stream will be more popular than this, I imagine. And so, yeah. Just gonna call it. Not yet, Mr. Trout. By the way, everybody, thank Mr. Trout for pretty much going through every single page in the wiki and editing stuff within them. It's very good of him to like just change it randomly. Death Incarnate as well has done more than his fair share of spelling corrections and grammar mistakes and stuff like that. It's basically trying to improve the look and feel of the site and what's written on it. But no, I haven't. Not in terms of like food and stuff. I suppose the easiest way to do that though is pretty much to take an animal and think what it would taste like. Take one of the monsters that I've got and put it in a dish, and suddenly I've got new food. Bit harder with plants and stuff. Coming up with original plants is quite difficult, to be quite honest. The only one I've come up with, and it's not really an original idea, is this sort of like luminous algae. I don't even know what it's called. It's not on the wiki because there's no section for plants. Hi, Pathragas. I don't know where to take this now. It's been good to talk about this, definitely. Do you guys know where we should take this now? Because I thought this would last about 2 hours. And I know if I start wrapping up, people will ask loads of questions, because that always happens. I don't want to bore you guys by just mumbling about stuff, even though I've done that for the past 2 hours. But like people are just arriving and stuff, so if they have any questions, then that'd be neat. One of the sort of, there are some things I'm like quite proud of, to be quite honest. Like these days, which are, I think I mentioned in the Easter eggs, are named. They're old Gaelic words, and of course dwarves speak, you know, they're all Scottish, aren't they? So they all speak Gaelic. So the dwarven days were originally, you know, Gaelic words, which are then turned into runic days, which are, you know. So yeah, but I am opening the floor to questions, because I do like questions. Okay, Iruk, about demons and stuff, you can go ahead. Because I mean, it might be, I can't say that I have the answers to all the questions, because there might be some things that I haven't thought of, you know. And you might say, what about this? I'm like, oh yeah. I know Emmy, if she's still here, she raised a point about the Grial, because the Grial are mostly infertile, and yet they have a royal family. They have like an emperor and empress, and so she was asking, well, you know, if they're mostly infertile, then how does it work that they've got you know, a royal family with, like, you know, hereditary heirs? And I'm like, I'll get back to you. Because I hadn't thought of that. You know? Oops. Hi, Cat Card. I haven't seen your message, but someone else has. Didn't come through to me, sadly. And hi, some Blade just got here. Hello. I was thinking about, you know, stopping soonish, but I'm only saying that as like a preliminary. You know, I'm not going to like just end it just now, but I'm just letting you know that I'm not going to babble on here all night. Purely because I find, like I said at the start of this stream, this is a selfish stream. Just to get me sort of like thinking about Iiosia again, because that's what I got to do. This is the whole point of this, is to get me thinking about it. And you guys asking questions gets me thinking about it, and, you know, ideas start churning in my head and stuff. And the fact that people are interested in it as well. And I reiterate the point I made at the start, is really good, and you know, to have the opportunity to say to you guys, you know, I want to chat about this. You guys want to come along and listen? Is, you know, really good. It's something that I'm very, very appreciative of. I don't understand whether Iiosia changed their ways with humans. Well, basically, they were ashamed that the remaining Iiosia. It does say it a little bit more in the actual lore, I think. But yeah, once the Iiosia sort of lost their homeland and they lost their nobility and their leaders, they kind of realized that the way they were sort of, the path that they were pursuing was wrong. And so they pretty much helped the humans out of guilt. So the humans that they hadn't enslaved and they found later, they came across. And don't forget, the Iiosia, you know, they lived in cities. And they were creatures of luxury and stuff, and they had everyone doing their work for them. So to suddenly be sort of like cast out into the world, they were kind of stuck. And so to come across maybe a primitive tribe of humans who had food, you know, they were something like, you know, do you mind if I just have a little bit of food? And they were like, yeah, all right. And so like maybe bonds were formed and stuff, you know. The mutant people of the, what the hell are they? See, I haven't written about them. The Outlanders, the Ferian. I haven't written about them, and that is a key that I haven't really thought about it too much. But one has appeared in a story of mine called Nerolith, which is the vampire, and he was sort of a cat-like creature. And he basically, you know, he was much smaller than the human, and he had sort of like massive agile, you know, agility and stuff. And I just think that they're sort of like they're up there in the highlands, in the wastes. What are they called? The wastelands? What the Outlands? That's it. They're called the Outlands. And they just get twisted by magic. Magic affects different, you know, depending on sort of like the composition of it and how much there is, it can affect things in different ways. So, for example, with the Grier, it turns them into sort of like these skeletal, ultra-strong, but largely infertile creatures, and with the Ferian, it sort of like warps them so they become sort of like semi-animalistic. Any major figures, assassins of note? Yeah, Brother Lou, you're entirely right. I mean, the Nerolith thing is sort of like touching on that, because she does stumble across this vampiric plot to not assassinate but infect the Queen with vampirism, and therefore, because this vampire matriarch is going to infect the Queen will be her thrall, essentially, you know, under her power, and so she'll effectively rule the land under the Queen, the guise of the Queen. So there is that, and that's got a little bit of political intrigue and stuff, you know. I mean, it's getting there. It's getting. Plan on having any fleshed out languages? Oh, not especially. Apart from weird words that you can't really pronounce, and me going, "That's a different language, guys." No. The only other thing is that certain places have a different sort of like feel to their names. Mostly, like Melislonoth and Anithchar. Not so much Zaradon. Pinnacles, like, it's just a word, doesn't really count. But, you know, they're sort of like Aetian-y kind of, you know. Whereas, you know, Xanth, Rustor, Haleport are much more regular sort of names. So there's some sort of like language stuff going on there, and I think that the Aunish people do have their own language. Well, I'm not sure. They might not. Can't remember. It's an IRPG. But whether, you know, actually saying what it is, I don't know about that. Some expect variation for magic unfitting for Iiosia. I'll have to have examples, Pike, because I don't know. Probably, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. Is there a hidden race somewhere? A couple of last survivors of an ancient race? Yes, the Tarchi. The Tarchi are indeed that. The more sort of like powerful the Tarchi do possess some kind of intellect beyond the ability to wield magic, because don't forget these guys have been driven insane with hate. But some of them are able to reason a little bit better than others. Whether that'll have any impact with anything, I'm not sure, but encountering these creatures will be very difficult because their underlings would rip you to shreds before you even got to speak to them. So yeah. I mean, Tolkien did it, but he was like a master of languages, wasn't he? He had like degrees and stuff in language study, and he knew how languages were made up and stuff, and I expect he could speak a few as well. So I don't know, I'll invent Elven, no, Elvish. I have nowhere near that skill. Oh, bye, Loon. Thank you. I can't remember Looper. Don't know. It does say in the wiki. Hang on. It might have changed. Just a sec. Where would that even be? Just a second. Alright. One sun and a single moon. There you go. Called Luminous. There you go. One moon. There you go. I'm awesome. I know everything about my world. The original story behind the Variax thing was that there was a mining colony on the moon, and for some reason he gets stuck there. I've since changed that to an island, because, you know, getting back from the moon, it's kind of difficult. Setting something on a moon with different gravity and everything is not easy, especially when it's supposed to be partially abandoned. So I kind of just like gave up on that idea. So I don't know about that. If I was to write a short story, how imaginative could I get with the nature of demons? Who eats memories. That's kind of, I love that kind of stuff he wrote, because another thing that I'm not all that brilliant. What are Shadowcasters? No idea. Is that in my story? Did I write that? Oh, Shadowcasters. Oh no, they're Shadowcasters. They're at mountains. Although Shadowcasters seem like a cool. Yeah, but that's a mountain range. Shadowcasters, the Spine, the Chasm Cairn Mountains down there. Yeah, Shadowcasters. Sentinels there. Anyway, I love that idea that eats memories and stuff. I know that Death and his players had a cool idea for demons. I love ideas for demons. So yes, please do stuff like that. Because I quite like it. I do quite like it. The different sort of, like, you know, variations they can form. So I think I have the base main ones sorted out down here in demons, strangely enough. The Drath, the Maelken, Harbingers, which I think are sort of like just ghostly messengers. Reavers, Succubae, which aren't really demons, strictly Ulthin and Chakath. And the Demon Spawn, which are the offspring of 2 of the Chakath, because they got it on during the invasion, as you do. Haven't really written about that yet, though. Make a story about a demon that eats the memories of an amnesiac and then gets amnesia themselves. Heck, that could be a character. That's neat. That's so cool. Oh, yes. Anyway. Yeah. What if vampires fed on memories instead of blood? And it ended with a question. Have you ever walked into a room and forgot why you were there? Well, yeah. I like my vampires. I've already written, where are you, Nerolith? This is the story that I am most pleased with. Oh, look, in 36,000 words. Yay, 36,000 words! It's the story I'm most pleased with. Honestly, it's about the vampire. She gets turned into a vampire. She doesn't want to be a vampire, but she gets turned into a vampire as an act of revenge because she's part of this vampire hunting cult. She's the daughter of the leader of this cult, and so they kidnap her and turn her into a vampire. Actually, they torture her. I don't... no, that's right. She doesn't actually plan on turning her into a vampire. But it happens anyway due to some different things that happen within the thing. But I'm quite happy with my vampires. I quite like my vampires. They're quite regular vampires, but, you know, nonetheless, I like them. Because I think vampires are cool. Vampires and vampires. Yeah, vampires, vampires, and they're just like an awesome version of vampires. Kanon, well, these stories, this is the problem I'm having. This is why I'm having this stream. Most of the stories I have written are half finished. There's only one. You can find it in Iiosia.com. If you go into writings, you'll find it here. Twisted Fates, there it is. You can read it, I download there. Boom. There it is. So you can read that for free, with no charge. That's how generous. And I was writing Darkness Dawns, but yeah, I kind of got. It was going well. It was going well. I was motivating myself by uploading a chapter a week. Oh yeah, Bloodlust Pipe, Bloodlust. Ugh. With Darkness Dawns, I was writing a chapter a week and uploading it, but it was, and then I got to change stuff. Darkness in Shadow is what it was originally called, and I changed it to Darkness Dawns. There it is. Oh, chat has been cleared by a moderator. Blimey, there it goes. Spoiler warning. Yeah. Maybe you could read what you wrote and continue from there. Yeah, that's what I do though, Radek. You know, I start reading, like I'll get down here. I'm like, right, I'm going to start writing this. Okay, what's happening? I'm not sure. Okay, I'll read it from here. Who's Brovik? I don't know. Let's start from up here. Linisa? I'm not quite sure. Alright, let's just start from here. Oh, that needs changing. This needs changing. That needs changing. And that's sort of what happens. you know? And I start rewriting stuff, and yeah. You guys don't want to read this. That's major spoilers. There, you can read the first 4 lines of Nerolith. Yeah. I mean, I'm not really like good at blowing my own trumpet, but there's good stuff here. I don't want to say, well, it's not true. My world's like super original. I don't think there's anything in my world that hasn't been done before. Nothing. Because like somebody said, every idea is born of like either inspired by something, or you take something that you like and another thing that you like and you mash them together and it's a new idea. So I don't think there's anything in this that I've showed you tonight or that I've ever written that there's been nothing like it before. But I can live with that. I can accept that. It's mine, and I do like what I got so far. I do like it. I like the scar. I like this the scar. There's the scar. I've got the scar, and I also have the wound. Even though I hear that's something in Guild Wars 2 or something. The wound. There's something in Guild Wars. I don't know, because I don't see these terms are quite common. They're quite easy to come up with. I think there's just one method that works. Also, some writers I know often. So take a fixed time of your day or week. During the time you sit down with a glass or whatever, you write for a certain time. Work for me. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm sort of leaning towards. Yeah, Rutherford. Well, the Rutherford thing was actually a point towards Thief. Because I'm pretty sure there's some Rutherfords in Thief. It might actually... I think they just mentioned in passing, but... Yeah. But yeah, Spike, I think I might take your advice there, honestly, and just... Because it's discipline! But it's finding the balance, Pike. Find the balance. Because you say... Yeah, you're right, Riddick. It's finding the balance, because, yeah, a fixed time. You say it's a fixed time, but is the fixed time half an hour? Is the fixed time 3 hours? And I know you say you got to experiment with it. It's quite easy. I suppose a base is like an hour. Everywhere from 9 to 12. So you did, yeah, 3 hours. That might be a bit much for me, you know. It's different for everyone. I'm not expecting you to say you should do it for an hour and a half and that's it. So yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, like when I was struggling with this earlier, not this, the Darkness and Shadow thing. I told myself to write a page a day, and even a page a day is enough to keep, you know, chugging on with stuff. And a page doesn't take long, you know. So like a page a day, you know, 7 pages a day, and suddenly you've got 30 pages in a week. All right, it's going to take you a while, but I mean, let's have a look at this, for example. 61 pages. That's 2 months' work at that rate. Which, you know, 2 months to write a story-ish. Buy a softer, thank you. It's not that long. I'm not saying I should write a page a day, but to be honest, that page a day thing was working until I stopped it. Just pacing yourself. I know, Numa. Another thing that you can do as well, or that I can do, I'm going to write this down as well, is to not write the story in order. And I heard about this. Yes, card, I do. Don't worry, they're all on the server and everything. And I got several copies. Like I have 3 copies. I got one on my desktop, one on my laptop, one on an external hard drive, and on. So I got 4 copies and online. I think I'm good for copies of stuff. I really want an NES drive. That's something else. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, don't write in order. I heard about this because if write all the best bits of your story, because you're saying about you know, Emmy, about the main plot points, very important bits. There could be a point in the story where you think, God, that's going to be so cool. I can't wait to write that. Write it then, and then fill in the gaps, you know. So you might have like, oh, I really want to do this scene, or you know, you might be at work or whatever and thinking, you know, about a bit in your story. Yeah, exactly, Death. And then and so you write that scene. I did that bit with Nerolith, actually. There was a really awesome scene set at the top of this opera house, where these vampire hunters come after her, and she sort of like lurks in this opera house for a while, you know, like Phantom of the Opera sort of thing going on. Also, it's slightly inspired, by the way, by Home Alone 2 with the old pigeon woman above, you know, the auditorium. But yeah, so she was lurking there, and these vampire hunters find her, and there's this swirling music, you know, playing underneath, and she's dancing while she's killing them. And I thought, that's so freaking awesome. Because she enters sort of like vampire bloodlust mode. And so I wrote it, and then I joined the dots. I don't know whether you won't manage by time, so you get, yeah. You're right, Pike, you're right. Yeah, I guess you're right. Well, the page a day thing didn't work, but you can see the thing I was getting at. I tried it. Yes, Mr. Numa. I'm not saying, you know, I mean, if you write all the best bits of your story and then just fill in the gaps, it could work. The bit that I'm talking about wasn't that far ahead of what I was getting at, but I couldn't concentrate on what I was writing because I really wanted to write the scene with the dancing. So I got that, and then I pretty much wrote up to it. Yeah. I am feeling quite inspired now, guys. With stuff. Yeah, well, yeah, indeed, Looper. I was just saying. Our collective. We could, if you like, make this a semi-regular thing. I mean, what do you think about that? So, primarily, it'll be sort of like us chatting about how we've done, like in a forum-based sort of like semi-casual, but ultimately very formal way. But you know, we could just do this sort of like, you know, now and then, see how we're all getting along. I don't know whether that's a good idea or not. I thought I'd put it out there. Or maybe I should just do these updates, you know, now and then. Every author is different indeed, yes. Yeah, similar. Yeah, I'm not going to say like, you know, every week we shall meet here at this place and you shall all report back to me on what you have been doing. And I will do the same. But yeah, just occasionally I'm going to say, right, we'll do a stream. If you guys could, I know I hate doing this. But obviously, like the guys, like all you guys in this chat right now, are the people who will probably come to these sort of things. So I won't be advertising these on my main LP channel. I'll be advertising them on my World of Iiosia channel. So if you're not subscribed to it, then go and subscribe. Also, don't forget to like and leave a comment. My mouse just died. Yeah, you can hear me in the background there. I can't turn myself off. I just have to replace the batteries. I knew it was dying, so I am ready. But yeah. So yeah, if you guys subscribe to this, that will be where I put the announcements to this sort of thing up. So if you want to hang out for another stream like this, that's where it'll be. You know. So yeah, don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. Leave a like, and you know, send me donations as well. You can find my donation link in the I'll stop. But yeah, because I have asked for donations before, so I shouldn't like that because I've been there. I'm not above that sort of thing. Tweetbooks, yes. Yeah, a forum. Oh, someone mentioned a forum. I mean, yeah, I gotta set up a forum and stuff, and you know, I can do that on this. But this is what happens. You see, this is a perfect example. Okay, all right. I'm gonna write a story. Okay, all right. Or I'm gonna write stories. All right. So I'll set up a forum. So I'll learn how to do a forum, and and then I'll spend the time setting up the forum, and I've set up the forum. Oh, I'm tired now. I can't bother writing. Thanks, Mark. That's nice. So a forum may be in time, but like I was saying, it's hard to. It's easy to sort of get overwhelmed by all the things that I have to do, and creating a forum. Even though a forum could be really easy, you know, it could be like half an hour's work. Boom, forum on the wiki. There we go. Doom. And there's use of missions and everything and all that. And then you can get like external forums, like Squeeze got. But yeah, you know, we'll see about the forum. We'll see. We may all just turn this stream off, go to bed, and forget it ever happened. But I hope not. But speaking of turning the stream off, I might actually think about doing that pretty soon. Unless you guys have any more pressing concerns. I think tonight has been really successful for me, and I hope for some of you guys as well to, you know, chat about stuff like this. Because yeah, it's been really good. It's been really nice to just open up and talk about Iiosia and just babble, and you guys have been actually interested. Yes, Hiruk. And if you guys want to write a short story about Iiosia, please do. You know, if you're stuck for ideas and you're stuck for where to set this thing, set it on Iiosia and ask me questions that I have to answer, because that's a brilliant way for me to get my head down and think about this. This person wants to know about this subject. They can't wait for me to get back to them, so I will write you an answer. You could even just pretend that you're writing a story and you're like, right, what hasn't he written about? Let's find something he hasn't written about. Okay, I'm going to write about something involving Mordessa. He hasn't written about Mordessa. Verax, I'm writing about Mordessa. Tell me about Mordessa. And I'll have to write about Mordessa because I don't have a clue who Mordessa the Decadent is. Not a clue. So... oh yes, when am I going to add ducks to Iiosia? Soon. They will appear in the monster manual in the next update. Along with caterpillars and sloths. And bunnies. And chickens. Okay, yes, well, yeah. and all manner of small mammals. So I think I might go, guys. It is a she. Yeah, Modessa is a she. Modessa, I think Silnistai may well have been a she, and Cithlia definitely was, because she is the one who wrecked Orendor. She's very, very bad. She raised an army of the dead and brought about the end of the human kingdom known as Orendor. She also created a terrible new creature, the vampire, by raising a body that she sucked dry of blood. Bad girl. Bad girl. Quite important to the whole lore of the entire Northern Hemisphere, really. Yeah. Anyway. I even say how to pronounce it. Cithlia. There we go. Okay. Okay. So I might wander off then. Might leave. Might you know, say my goodbyes to you guys. You know, I mean, you guys can stay in the chat and chat, you know, talk if you like. But I'm thinking about heading off because, you know, I got work in the morning and stuff. And if I overdo this and talk too long, I'll probably just get sick of it and not want to do it anymore. But like I say, if you want to write stories based on Iiosia, please do. Please get in touch with me, either, you know, via YouTube. Maybe there's a link on here that you can get in touch with me with. Oh, it's on the main page. It's on the main page. There it is. Verex@iosia.com. That is the email. And or via YouTube or whatever. And yeah, if I like you enough, maybe I'll add you on Skype as well. So, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow night for Oblivion if you're going to be around. If not, then it's been great having you. Again, really appreciate you guys being here to, you know, to let me ramble out. It's been fantastic, and I really appreciate it. Thank you ever so much, every single one of you, for being here. It's been really good. Right, I'm gonna go off, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye everyone. Bye bye. Toodaloo.